The stars were old and the galaxy had seen everything. Or so they thought. In the year 2847, 12 great civilizations ruled the Milky Way. They called themselves the Galactic Union. For 3,000 years, they had explored the stars, built massive cities on distant worlds, and created weapons that could destroy entire planets. They believed they were the smartest, the strongest, and the most advanced beings in the universe. The Union had rules. When two species disagreed, they met at the Council of Harmonies. The council talked, made decisions, and kept peace. Wars still happened, but they were controlled. Both sides agreed on where to fight and how many ships to bring. It was civilized. It was proper. It was the way things had always been done. Deep in a quiet arm of the galaxy, there was a small yellow star. Around it orbited a blue planet called Earth. 200 years ago, Union scouts had found it. They detected radio signals and saw nuclear explosions. The scouts reported back with concern. The creatures on this planet were violent and primitive. They fought wars with terrible weapons. They polluted their air and water. They would probably destroy themselves soon. The council made a decision. They placed warning beacons around the Sol system. No one was allowed to visit. The humans were too dangerous and too stupid to join galactic society. The council would check on them in a few hundred years. Maybe by then the humans would be extinct. Or maybe they would still be stuck on their little planet, fighting over dirt and water. For 2 centuries, no one thought about Earth. The Union had bigger problems. The Vrellan Empire, a race of large reptilian warriors, was causing trouble. They wanted more territory. They wanted more power. Their leader, Prime Commander Kreshvor, was planning something big. He thought the council was weak. He wanted to take control. What the Union did not know was that humanity had changed. After coming close to nuclear war in the 21st century, humans finally learned. They stopped fighting each other and united under one government. They called it the Terran Federation. Every nation on Earth joined together. They had one goal: reach the stars. Humans built colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan. They dug mines in the asteroid belt. They constructed huge factories that floated in space. And then, in the year 2300, human engineers found something strange on the moon. It was a crashed alien probe, buried under dust for thousands of years. Inside were blueprints for faster-than-light travel. The humans studied the technology. They copied it. They improved it. Within 50 years, they built their first FTL ship. They tested it in secret far from Earth in the cold darkness of the Oort cloud. It worked, but the humans were careful. They remembered the warning beacons. They knew aliens existed. They knew those aliens had decided humans were not worth talking to. So the Terran Federation made a plan. They would stay hidden. They would build their strength in secret. And when the time came, they would be ready. For 500 years, humans worked. They built shipyards in the Kuiper Belt, hidden among ice and rock. They designed warships unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Human ships were fast and small. They used stealth technology to hide from sensors. They carried railguns that fired metal slugs at incredible speeds. They had missiles that could think for themselves and dodge enemy fire. Most importantly, humans studied war. They read ancient books by generals like Sun Tzu and Clausewitz. They analyzed every battle in their bloody history. They learned from their mistakes. While the Union fought wars like ceremonies with rules and traditions, humans prepared to fight wars to win. Admiral Dae-Jin stood on the bridge of the Terran warship Indomitable. He was 52 years old with gray hair and tired eyes. He had fought in the Mars Rebellion and the Titan conflict. He had seen friends die. He had made hard choices. Now he commanded the First Fleet, 1,000 warships hidden throughout the Sol system. Dae-Jin did not want war. He wanted humanity to stay hidden until they were absolutely sure they could defend themselves. But the Federation Council had other ideas. They believed the time had come to make contact with the Galactic Union. Dae-Jin thought it was too soon. He worried the aliens would see humans as a threat. He was right to worry. Captain Hyo-Rin was 31 years old and one of the best pilots in the Terran fleet. She flew a small stealth frigate called Shadow of Terra. Her ship could hide from almost any sensor. She had spent the last 6 months watching Union ships near the edge of the Sol system. She learned their patterns. She listened to their communications. She reported everything back to Admiral Dae-Jin. One day, Hyo-Rin detected something unusual. A Union science vessel was approaching the quarantine zone. It was scanning for something. The ship had picked up gravitational anomalies from the Kuiper Belt. They had found the hidden shipyards. Hyorin made a quick decision. She could run and hide, but the Union would keep searching. Or she could reveal herself. She chose to reveal herself. She turned off her stealth systems. Her ship appeared on the Union vessel's sensors like a ghost becoming solid. She sent a message in perfect Union standard language. "This is Captain Hyorin of the Terran Federation. You are entering our territory. State your intentions." The Union ship was shocked. The crew panicked. They sent the message back to their commanders. Within hours, the entire galaxy knew. Earth was not dead. Earth was not primitive. Earth had faster-than-light ships and was claiming territory. The Council of Harmonies called an emergency meeting. They invited Earth to send a representative. Ambassador Jiwoo was chosen. She was 47 years old, a skilled negotiator who had helped unite Earth during the Unification Wars. She believed in peace. She believed aliens and humans could work together. Admiral Dae-jin did not share her optimism. As Jiwoo's ship prepared to leave for Union space, Dae-jin gave secret orders to his fleet. He told every ship to prepare for battle. He checked weapons, shields, and supplies. He positioned ships throughout the solar system, hidden and waiting. "They will not accept us," Dae-jin told his officers. "They will see us as a threat. And when they do, they will come for us. We need to be ready." His officers nodded. They trusted their admiral. They began their preparations. Jiwoo's ship jumped to FTL, leaving the Sol system behind. She carried humanity's hopes with her. She would speak to the Council. She would show them that humans were peaceful, intelligent, and worthy of respect. But far away on the Vrellan homeworld, Prime Commander Kreshvor was smiling. He had been looking for an excuse to show his power. Now he had one. A new species building weapons in secret, claiming territory without permission. It was the perfect target. Kreshvor began assembling his fleet. 200 capital ships, 500 cruisers, thousands of fighters. It was the largest military force the galaxy had seen in centuries. He would crush these humans. He would show the Council that only strength mattered. And in the darkness of space, hidden among asteroids and ice, 1,000 Terran warships waited silently. Their crews were ready. Their weapons were loaded. Their commanders watched and prepared. No one in the galaxy knew what was coming. They had dismissed humanity as primitive savages. They had ignored Earth for 200 years. They thought they understood everything about war, about power, about civilization. They were wrong. Soon, the galaxy would learn that the most dangerous species was not the one with the biggest ships or the oldest history. It was the one that refused to give up. The one that learned from every mistake. The one that would do anything to survive. The humans were coming. And no one saw it coming. Ambassador Jiwoo arrived at Nexus Prime 3 days after leaving Earth. The station was enormous, larger than any city on Earth. It floated in space like a metal moon, covered with lights and docking ports. Ships from a dozen different species came and went constantly. Jiwoo felt small as her shuttle approached. She had studied the Galactic Union for months, learning their languages, their customs, their history. But studying something and experiencing it were different. She was about to meet the most powerful beings in the galaxy. She was about to represent all of humanity. The shuttle docked. Jiwoo stepped out with her small team. A Union official met them. He was a tall, thin creature with blue skin and 4 arms. He looked at Jiwoo like she was something he found on his shoe. "Follow me," he said in a cold voice. "Do not wander. Do not touch anything. You are guests here, but you are not welcome." Jiwoo kept her face calm, but inside she felt angry. She had come in peace. She had come to talk. And already she was being treated like a criminal. They walked through corridors filled with aliens. Most ignored the humans. Some stared with curiosity. A few made rude gestures. Jiwoo noticed that her quarters were in the oldest, dirtiest section of the station. The room was barely large enough for her bed. "The air smelled bad. The Council will see you when they are ready," the official said. "It may be several days. Wait here." He left without another word. Jiwoo sat on her bed and sent a message back to Earth. She told them about her treatment. She told them the Union was not friendly. Admiral Dae-jin replied immediately. His message was simple. Be careful. 4 days passed. Finally, Jiwoo was called to the council chamber. It was a huge circular room with seats arranged in rising tiers. Representatives from 12 species sat watching her. In the center was a raised platform. That was where she would speak. Jiwoo climbed onto the platform. She looked around at the council members. Most looked bored. Some whispered to each other. One was sleeping. Only one alien met her eyes with genuine interest. She was old, with pale silver skin and kind eyes. Jiwoo would later learn her name was Counselor Thalreen. "Speak, human," the council leader said. He sounded impatient. "Tell us why we should not destroy your species for violating quarantine protocols." Jiwoo took a breath. She had prepared a speech about friendship and cooperation. But looking at their faces, she realized they would not listen to that. They had already decided what they thought about humans. She needed to change tactics. "We did not violate your quarantine," Jiwoo said firmly. "You placed beacons around our system and then ignored us for 2 centuries. During that time we grew. We learned. We built a civilization that spans our entire solar system. We have technology equal to yours. We have ships, weapons, and the will to defend ourselves." The council chamber became quiet. The sleeping member woke up. They were paying attention now. "You dismiss us as primitives," Jiwoo continued, "but we survived things you cannot imagine. We survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. We nearly destroyed ourselves with nuclear weapons, but we chose peace instead. We learned from our mistakes. Can your species say the same?" One council member stood up. He was massive, covered in dark scales, with claws and sharp teeth. This was Prime Commander Kreshfor of the Vrellan Empire. "Enough," Kreshfor roared. "We do not need to listen to these lies. I have proof of human aggression." He pressed a button. Images appeared in the air above the platform. They showed Terran shipyards, warships under construction, hidden bases throughout the Sol system, military installations on Mars and Titan. "Look at this," Kreshfor said. "The humans have built a secret military force, thousands of warships, advanced weapons. They hide in their system like cowards preparing to strike. They are a threat to galactic peace." The council members muttered among themselves. Some nodded in agreement. Jiwoo felt her heart sink. Kreshfor had turned the council against her. "You speak of peace," Kreshfor continued, pointing at Jiwoo with a clawed finger, "but you build weapons of war. You violate Union law. You are dangerous. I propose we take action immediately. Send a fleet to dismantle your military. Place your homeworld under Union control. Show the galaxy what happens to species that threaten the peace." Several council members cheered. Others looked uncertain. Counselor Thalreen remained silent, watching Jiwoo carefully. Jiwoo felt anger rising in her chest. She had come in peace. She had been honest. And now they wanted to invade Earth? "No, she would not allow it. You want to know why we built ships?" Jiwoo said, her voice loud and clear. "Because we knew this would happen. We knew you would look down on us. We knew you would see us as a threat instead of potential friends. So yes, we built weapons. We built them to defend ourselves from you." The council erupted in angry shouts. Jiwoo raised her hand for silence. Surprisingly, they quieted down. "You have watched us for 200 years, Jiwoo said. You placed your beacons and went away, assuming we would destroy ourselves. But we did not. We survived. We grew stronger. And during all that time, we watched you too." She pulled out a data device and projected her own images into the air. "We studied your wars," Jiwoo said. "We analyzed your tactics. We learned your weaknesses. You fight like everything is a ceremony. You follow rules. You limit your battles to specific areas. You think war is civilized?" She changed the image. It showed human military training, battle simulations, weapon tests. "We know what war really is," Jiwoo said quietly. "We have fought wars for survival. Wars with no rules. Wars where the loser dies. We learn to fight smart, fight dirty, and fight to win. So if you send ships to our system, they will not face a primitive species. They will face warriors who have been preparing for this moment for 500 years. The council chamber was completely silent. Even Kreshfor looked surprised. "You cannot threaten the Galactic Union," someone shouted. "I am not threatening anyone," Jiwoo replied. "I am telling you the truth. If you leave us alone, we will be peaceful neighbors. We will trade with you. We will share our knowledge. We will help build a better galaxy. But if you attack us, you will regret it." Kreshfor smiled. It was not a nice smile. "The human has spoken," he said. "She admits they are a military threat. She admits they have prepared for war. The choice is clear. We must act now before they grow stronger. I call for a vote. Who supports military action against Earth?" Hands went up. One by one, council members voted yes. Only 2 voted no. Counselor Thalreen was one of them. The vote was final. The Union would send a fleet to the Sol system. They called it a peacekeeping mission, but everyone knew what it really was. It was an invasion. Jiwoo was escorted back to her quarters. Guards were posted outside her door. She was a prisoner now. She sent one final message to Earth before her communications were cut off. The message was simple. They are coming. That night, Counselor Thalreen visited Jiwoo secretly. The old alien looked sad. I tried to stop this, Thalreen said, but Kreshvor wants war. He wants to prove his strength. He will lead the fleet himself. 200 capital ships. 500 cruisers. It is the largest force we have assembled in centuries. How long do we have? Jiwoo asked. 2 weeks, Thalreen replied. Maybe less. You should escape while you can. Go back to your people. Warn them, Jiwoo shook her head. If I run, it will make things worse. No, I will stay. I will face whatever comes. Thalreen looked at her with respect. Your people are lucky to have you. I hope they survive what is coming. She left quietly. Jiwoo sat alone in her room thinking about Earth, thinking about her family, thinking about all the people who would die if humanity lost this war. But far away in the Sol system, Admiral Dae-jin received her message. He read it carefully. Then he turned to his officers. All ships, battle stations, he ordered. Begin final preparations. The enemy is coming. Let us show them what humans can do. The Terran fleet moved into position, hidden, silent, and waiting. They had prepared for this moment for 500 years. Now the time had come, and the galaxy would never be the same. 5 years passed. The galaxy had changed in ways no one expected. Humanity spread across the stars like seeds on the wind. Terran colonies appeared on dozens of worlds. Human traders became common sights in Union ports. Human scientists shared their knowledge freely, advancing technology across multiple species. Human artists, musicians, and writers introduced new ideas and perspectives that challenged old assumptions. Ambassador Jiwoo had become one of the most influential members of the Council of Harmonies. She worked tirelessly to build bridges between species. She mediated disputes. She organized cultural exchanges. She helped younger civilizations find their voice in Union politics. Many species that once dismissed humans now respected them, and much of that respect came from seeing Jiwoo work. But peace was fragile. In the shadows, enemies plotted. The Vrellan hardliners had been preparing for 5 years. They called themselves the Restoration Front. Their leader was Vek Rath, a young commander who had survived the Battle of Sol. He blamed humanity for the death of Kreshvor and the humiliation of his people. He spent 5 years gathering allies, stockpiling weapons, and planning revenge. Vek Rath made secret alliances with other species who resented human influence. Some were genuinely angry about human expansion. Others were simply opportunists who saw a chance for power. Together they built a hidden fleet and waited for the right moment to strike. The moment came when humanity established a new colony on a world called New Horizon. It was a beautiful planet with blue oceans and green forests. 10,000 colonists made it their home. They built farms, schools, and cities. They believed they were safe. They were wrong. The Restoration Front attacked without warning. 50 warships dropped out of FTL above New Horizon. They opened fire immediately. Orbital stations exploded. Defense satellites were destroyed in seconds. Then the warships began bombarding the planet's surface. Cities burned. Farms were scorched. Thousands of people died in the first hour. The survivors fled into underground shelters and called for help. Admiral Hyo-Rin received the distress call while her fleet was exploring a nearby system. She did not hesitate. All ships set course for New Horizon. Maximum speed. We have people dying down there. Her fleet jumped to FTL. They arrived 3 hours later. By then, much of New Horizon was in ruins. But Vek Rath was still there, his ships still firing, determined to kill every human on the planet. Hyo-Rin saw the destruction and felt cold fury. She opened a channel to all ships in her fleet. They came here to murder civilians, to kill families, children. They thought we would be slow to respond. They thought wrong. Show them no mercy. The Terran fleet attacked. This time there was no careful strategy. No elegant tactics, just raw, overwhelming force. Hyo-Rin's ships tore through the enemy fleet like wolves among sheep. Vek Rath tried to retreat, but Hyo-Rin cut off his escape routes. Her ships hunted down every enemy vessel. Some tried to surrender, but she ignored them. They had murdered civilians. They had attacked a defenseless colony. There would be no mercy today. When the battle ended, 48 enemy ships were destroyed. Only 2 managed to escape. Veckrath was not among them. His flagship was captured intact. Hyorin boarded it personally with a team of Marines. They found him on the bridge, wounded but alive. "You will pay for this," Veckrath hissed. "The galaxy will see what you really are. Murderers. Tyrants." Hyorin looked down at him without pity. "You attacked civilians. You killed children. And you will answer for it. Take him away." Veckrath was brought to Nexus Prime in chains. The Council of Harmonies held a public trial. Evidence was presented. Survivors testified. Images of the destroyed colony were shown. The galaxy watched. Ambassador Jiwoo spoke at the trial. She described the colony, the families who had lived there, the dreams they had for the future. Then she described finding the bodies, seeing homes turned to ash, watching parents search for their children in the ruins. Her voice never rose. She never shouted. But her words carried immense weight. Everyone listening felt the pain of New Horizon. Even species that had been skeptical of humanity felt sympathy. Counselor Thalreen presided over the trial. She listened to all the evidence. She gave Veckrath a chance to defend himself. He refused. Instead, he declared that his actions were justified, that humans deserved death, that the only mistake was not bringing more ships. The verdict was unanimous. Guilty of war crimes, guilty of mass murder, guilty of crimes against sentient beings. Veckrath was sentenced to life imprisonment on a prison world far from any inhabited system. But the trial accomplished something more important than punishing one criminal. It forced the Union to confront its own failures. The conspiracy had been large. Multiple species were involved. Some council members had known and done nothing. The trial exposed corruption and prejudice that had festered for centuries. The council passed sweeping reforms. New oversight committees were created. Military forces would be monitored more closely. Species could no longer ignore attacks on other members. The Union would truly live up to its name or it would fall apart. Humanity played a key role in these reforms. Ambassador Jiwoo worked with Counselor Thalreen and other allies to draft new laws. Human legal experts helped rewrite Union codes. Human technology improved communication and transparency across the galaxy. Admiral Dae-jin finally retired. He had spent his entire adult life preparing for war, fighting war, or recovering from war. He was tired. He wanted to see Earth again. He wanted to walk in forests, swim in oceans, and remember why he had fought so hard. On his last day of service, the Federation held a ceremony. Thousands attended. The president gave him the highest military honor. But the moment Dae-jin remembered most was when a young child gave him a drawing. It showed a Terran warship protecting Earth. The child had written, "Thank you for keeping us safe." Dae-jin kept that drawing for the rest of his life. Admiral Hyorin continued exploring. Her fleet discovered new systems, made first contact with previously unknown species, and established humanity as the galaxy's premier explorers. She became famous across the Union, not just as a warrior, but as a discoverer of wonders. She often thought about New Horizon. The pain never went away, but she channeled it into determination. She would explore the galaxy. She would find new worlds for humanity, and she would make sure that what happened on New Horizon never happened again. Ambassador Jiwoo remained on the council. She grew older, wiser, more respected. Young diplomats from many species came to learn from her. She taught them that strength without wisdom is dangerous and wisdom without strength is useless. She taught them to respect all species, even the smallest and weakest. She taught them that the galaxy was big enough for everyone. One day, Jiwoo stood with Thalreen on a balcony overlooking Nexus Prime. They were both old now. They had worked together for decades. "When you first came here," Thalreen said, "I thought your species would destroy the Union. I thought you were too aggressive, too dangerous. I was wrong. You saved us. You showed us our own failures and helped us become better." Jiwoo smiled. "We were not perfect. We made mistakes too. But we learned. Together we all learned." Thalreen nodded. "That is what makes your species special. Not your weapons, not your technology, your ability to learn, to adapt, to never give up. The galaxy is better because Earth came out of hiding." They stood in comfortable silence, watching ships come and go from the station. Human ships, alien ships, all working together, all part of the same galactic community. Back on Earth, children learned about the Battle of Saul in history class. Their teachers told them about the time when the galaxy dismissed humanity, about the war that followed, about the peace that was won, about the friends that were made. One teacher, a veteran who had fought under Admiral Jin, always ended the lesson the same way. "Remember this," he told his students. "The galaxy did not see us coming. They thought we were weak. They thought we would be easy to defeat or destroy. They were wrong. But we proved them wrong not just with weapons, but with courage, determination, and the willingness to stand up for what we believed." He paused, looking at each child in turn. "Never let anyone tell you that you are not good enough. Never let anyone tell you to give up. Never let anyone convince you that you cannot achieve great things. Because 500 years ago, the galaxy learned a lesson. They learned that humanity, when pushed, when threatened, when given no choice, will rise to meet any challenge. We did it then. We can do it again, always." Outside the classroom, the sky stretched endlessly above. Among the stars, human ships traveled alongside alien vessels, trading, exploring, building, learning. The galaxy was no longer divided between old powers and newcomers. It was united, stronger than ever before. No one saw Earth coming. But everyone remembered what happened when they did. And the lesson echoed across the stars, a reminder that the smallest voice can become the loudest, the weakest can become the strongest, and those who are underestimated can change the galaxy forever. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not through conquest, not through domination, but through courage, determination, and the simple refusal to be ignored. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly how it should be. The galaxy was in shock. News of the Battle of Saul spread through every system, every station, every world. The impossible had happened. A species that no one took seriously had destroyed the most powerful fleet in Union history. On 1,000 worlds, people gathered to watch recordings of the battle. They saw Union ships burning. They saw Terran warships moving with impossible speed and precision. They saw Admiral Jin's message, calm and confident, offering peace or promising war. Some species felt fear. If humans could defeat the Union fleet so easily, what else could they do? Other species felt hope. Maybe the old powers were not invincible. Maybe things could change. The Council of Harmonies met in emergency session. The chamber was packed. Representatives shouted at each other. Some demanded revenge. Others called for immediate peace talks. A few suggested abandoning the Union entirely and making separate deals with Earth. Counselor Thalreen waited for the chaos to die down. When there was finally silence, she stood and spoke. "We brought this disaster on ourselves. We dismissed the humans as primitives. We refused to treat them with respect. When they revealed their strength, we responded with threats instead of diplomacy. Prime Commander Kreshfor led our fleet to its destruction because of arrogance and pride." Many council members looked uncomfortable. They did not like being told they were wrong. "We have a choice," Thalreen continued. "We can escalate this conflict and lose more ships, more lives, and more credibility. Or we can admit our mistakes and negotiate with humanity as equals. I propose we send a diplomatic mission to Earth immediately, not as conquerors, but as guests seeking peace." A Vrellan representative stood up. He was young, aggressive, his scales dark with anger. "You want us to bow to these creatures? To beg forgiveness? Never. We should gather all our forces and crush them once and for all." Thalreen looked at him calmly. "And how many ships do you think it will take? The humans destroyed 700 of our best warships in 6 hours. They did it without losing a single vessel. Our entire military strength is perhaps 5,000 ships. Even if we win, the cost will be catastrophic. Is your pride worth destroying the Union?" The young Vrellan sat down. He had no answer. After hours of debate, the council voted. By a narrow margin, they chose peace. Thalreen would lead a delegation to Earth. They would negotiate a treaty. Ambassador Jiwoo would be released immediately and given full honors. When Jiwoo received the news, she felt overwhelming relief. She had been preparing to die on Nexus Prime. Instead, she was going home. But the relief was mixed with worry. Would Earth accept peace? Or would they want revenge? She sent a message to Admiral Dae-jin. The Union wants to negotiate. They are sending Counselor Thalreen to Earth. She is genuine. She wants real peace. Please give her a chance. On Earth, the Terran Federation Council debated their response. Admiral Dae-jin argued for continuing military pressure. We have them afraid. We should use that fear to secure better terms. Show more strength, make more demands. But Ji-woo disagreed. Fear is not the same as respect. If we push too hard, we will create enemies who will never forgive us. If we show mercy now, we can build real relationships. We can become partners instead of conquerors. The Federation Council was split. Some supported Dae-jin, others agreed with Ji-woo. Finally, the president of the Federation spoke. She was an old woman who had lived through the unification wars. She had seen what hatred and pride could do. We fought for our survival, the president said. We won. But now we must decide what kind of power we want to be. Do we want to rule through fear? Or do we want to build something better? I vote for peace, but peace with strength. We will negotiate, but we will not disarm. We will be generous, but not weak. The council voted. Peace won, but barely. Admiral Dae-jin accepted the decision, but he ordered the fleet to remain on high alert. He trusted the politicians to talk, but he would be ready if talking failed. Counselor Thalreen arrived on Earth 3 weeks later. It was the first time in recorded history that an alien leader had visited the human homeworld. The landing was broadcast across the entire planet. Billions of humans watched as the alien shuttle touched down in Geneva. Thalreen stepped out onto human soil. She looked around at the blue sky, the green trees, the mountains in the distance. She took a deep breath of Earth air. It felt strange but wonderful. Ambassador Ji-woo met her at the landing site. The two embraced, surprising everyone watching. It was a simple gesture, but it meant everything. It showed that peace was possible. The negotiations took place in a specially built conference hall. Human and alien diplomats sat across from each other. The talks were difficult. Both sides had demands. Both sides had pride. But slowly, carefully, they built an agreement. The Treaty of Earth had several key points. First, humanity would be recognized as a sovereign power with full rights in the Galactic Union. No more quarantine, no more dismissive treatment. Earth would have a seat on the Council of Harmonies. Second, humans would gain access to Union trade networks, scientific databases, and cultural exchanges. They would be able to establish colonies beyond the Sol system. They would be able to trade freely with other species. Third, and most controversially, humanity would be allowed to maintain their military at any level they chose. The Union could not demand disarmament or restrict Terran ship construction. This clause made many Union members nervous, but they had no choice. They could not enforce disarmament without risking another war they might lose. In return, humanity agreed to follow Union laws regarding territorial expansion and rules of engagement. They would not attack Union members without provocation. They would participate in peacekeeping missions. They would share some of their military technology to help strengthen Union defenses. The treaty was signed in a ceremony attended by leaders from both sides. Cameras captured the moment. It was historic. Humanity had gone from being dismissed as primitives to being recognized as major galactic powers in just a few months. After the ceremony, Thalreen and Ji-woo stood together on a balcony overlooking Earth. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. "Your world is beautiful," Thalreen said. "I understand now why you fought so hard to defend it." Ji-woo smiled. "Every species has a homeworld they would die to protect. We are not so different from you." "No," Thalreen agreed. "We are not. I think that is what frightens the Council. They expected you to be alien, strange, incomprehensible. But you are like us. Ambitious, proud, willing to fight for what you believe. That makes you dangerous. Is that a bad thing?" Ji-woo asked. Thalreen thought for a moment. "No. I think it is what the galaxy needs. We have become comfortable, stagnant. We follow old rules and old ways. Perhaps humanity will shake us awake. Perhaps you will help us become better than we are. But not everyone was happy with the treaty. In the ruins of the Vrelin military headquarters, surviving officers met in secret. They had lost their commander, their fleet, and their pride. They wanted revenge. They began planning for the day when they could strike back at humanity. Admiral Dae-Jin knew about the Vrelin hardliners. His intelligence network was extensive. He sent reports to the Federation Council. We must remain vigilant, the peace is fragile. Some will try to break it. We need to be ready. The Council agreed. Captain Hyorin was promoted to Admiral and given command of the Second Fleet. Her mission was to explore beyond Union space, establish new colonies, and watch for threats. She accepted the assignment eagerly. She had always wanted to see what lay beyond the known galaxy. As her fleet prepared to depart, Hyorin stood on the bridge of her new flagship, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there were new worlds, new species, new challenges. She was ready for all of them. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had emerged from isolation. They had proven their strength. They had won their place among the stars. But the real test was just beginning. Could they maintain peace? Could they build lasting friendships? Could they help create a better galaxy? Time would tell. But one thing was certain. No one would ever dismiss Earth again. No one would ever underestimate humanity. The galaxy had seen what Terrans could do when pushed, and they would never forget. The future was uncertain, but it was full of possibilities, and humanity was ready to face whatever came next. The Union fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system 14 days later. Prime Commander Kreshfor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Victory. Around him floated 200 massive warships and 500 smaller cruisers. It was the most powerful military force in galactic history. Kreshfor looked at the view screen. He saw a yellow star surrounded by planets. Everything looked quiet. "Too quiet, where are they?" one of his officers asked. "Hiding," Kreshfor said with a laugh. "The cowards have run away. Scan the system. Find their bases. We will destroy them one by one." The Union fleet moved forward slowly. Their sensors swept across the solar system. They detected a few orbital stations around Earth, some mining operations in the asteroid belt, but no military ships, no defenses, nothing. Kreshfor felt disappointed. He had expected a fight. He had wanted to crush the humans in glorious battle. Instead, they had fled like frightened animals. What he did not know was that Admiral Dae-Jin was watching him. The Terran fleet was not gone. It was hidden. 1,000 warships waited in silence, their stealth systems active, their weapons ready. They were scattered throughout the system, positioned behind planets, asteroids, and moons. Each ship waited for the signal to attack. Captain Hyorin floated in her command chair aboard the frigate Shadow of Terra. Her ship was hidden inside a crater on the dark side of Earth's moon. From there, she could see the entire Union fleet. She counted their ships. She studied their formation. She found their weak points. "They are flying in a defensive wall," Hyorin said to her crew. "All their ships are grouped together. Their shields overlap." "They think it makes them strong, does it?" asked her weapons officer. Hyorin smiled. "It makes them slow. It makes them predictable. And when we hit them from all sides at once, they will not be able to respond fast enough." Admiral Dae-Jin watched his tactical display from the bridge of the Indomitable. His ship floated in the shadow of Jupiter, hidden from enemy sensors. Around him, his command staff worked quietly. Everyone knew what to do. They had practiced this moment 1,000 times. The Union fleet was moving deeper into the system, heading toward Earth. They were being careful, but not careful enough. They believed humans were inferior. They believed this would be easy. Dae-Jin opened a secure channel to all Terran ships. His voice was calm and steady. "All units, this is Admiral Dae-Jin. The enemy has entered our home. They come to conquer us, to enslave us, to erase us from history. We will show them their mistake. We will show them what happens when you threaten Earth. All ships, attack on my mark." He counted down slowly. 3, 2, 1. Execute. 1,000 Terran warships decloaked at the same moment. They appeared from every direction, surrounding the Union fleet. Before the aliens could react, the humans opened fire. Railgun rounds tore through space at incredible speeds. Each round was a simple piece of metal, but moving so fast that it hit with the power of a bomb. Union shields flickered and failed under the assault. Hull plating cracked. Ships spun out of control. Missiles followed the railgun fire. Thousands of them, each thinking for itself, dodging defensive fire, seeking targets. Union point defense systems tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. Explosions bloomed across the fleet like deadly flowers. HFY grabbed his command chair as his flagship shook from multiple impacts. Warning alarms screamed throughout the bridge. Crew members shouted reports, shields at 40%. Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. We have lost 20 ships. How? HFY roared. Where did they come from? Everywhere, his sensor officer shouted. They are everywhere. HFY looked at his tactical display. It was covered with red markers, each one representing a human ship. They were not fighting like the Union expected. They were not forming battle lines. Instead, they attacked in small groups, hitting fast and moving away before the Union could return fire. Return fire, HFY ordered. Destroy them all! The Union fleet tried to fight back. Their plasma cannons fired, but the Terran ships were too fast. They dodged and weaved through space like birds. When Union ships did manage to hit them, Terran shields absorbed most of the damage. Captain Hyorin led her squadron straight at the enemy flagship. She knew that killing HFY would break Union morale. Her frigates flew in perfect formation, using debris from destroyed ships as cover. Union fighters tried to intercept them, but Hyorin's pilots were better. They shot down enemy fighters one after another. Target the reactor core, Hyorin ordered. Fire everything we have. Her ships launched a concentrated barrage at the Eternal Victory. Missiles slammed into the same section of the flagship again and again. The shields failed. Armor cracked, and then the missiles reached the reactor. The explosion was massive. The Eternal Victory tore apart from inside, splitting into 3 pieces. Escape pods launched in every direction, but most did not make it. HFY died on his bridge, still screaming orders that no one could hear. The destruction of their flagship broke the Union fleet. Some ships tried to retreat. Others fought on desperately. But without coordination, they were easy targets. Terran squadrons hunted them down systematically. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, half the Union fleet was destroyed. The surviving ships were crippled, their weapons disabled, their FTL drives offline. Admiral Dae-jin gave them a choice, surrender or die. They surrendered. Dae-jin allowed the survivors to return home. But first, Terran engineers removed their weapons and damaged their engines. The Union ships would limp back slowly, giving everyone time to see their defeat. Then Admiral Dae-jin sent a message. He broadcast it on all Union frequencies, ensuring every world in the galaxy would receive it. This is Admiral Dae-jin of the Terran Federation. You came to our home with war in your hearts. You believed we were weak. You believed we would be easy to conquer. You were wrong. He paused, letting his words sink in. We did not want this war. We sought only to be left alone. But you forced our hand. Now you have seen what we can do. The fleet you sent against us is destroyed. Your commander is dead, and this is only a fraction of our strength. The camera view changed. It showed 1,000 Terran warships arranged in perfect formation around Earth. The sight was breathtaking and terrifying. The ships hung in space like a wall of steel, their weapons pointed outward, ready for anything. To the Galactic Union, Dae-jin continued. We offer you one chance for peace. Withdraw your forces. Respect our sovereignty. Recognize us as equals. If you do this, we will be your allies. We will trade with you. We will share our knowledge. But if you attack us again, we will not stop at defending our system. We will bring the war to you. We will show you what humans do when they are pushed too far. The message ended. The image of the Terran fleet remained on screens across the galaxy. People watched in silence. Some felt fear. Others felt respect. But everyone understood the same thing. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was dangerous. On Nexus Prime, Counselor Thalreen watched the message in her private quarters. She felt relieved. The war was over before it could escalate. But she also felt worried. The galaxy had changed. A new power had emerged, one that did not follow the old rules. She visited Ambassador Jiwoo, who was still confined to her quarters. The guards let Thalreen pass without question. Your people have won, Thalreen said. The council is in chaos. Some want to continue the war. Others want peace. But everyone is afraid. Ji-woo stood at her window, looking out at the stars. Good. Fear will keep them honest. But we do not want to rule through fear alone. We want to be partners, equals, friends. Thalreen nodded slowly. Then we must work together. I will speak to the council. I will convince them to negotiate. But you must convince your leaders to give us a chance. Ji-woo turned to face her. I will try, but my people have been insulted. They have been attacked. It will not be easy to forgive. Nothing worth doing is ever easy, Thalreen replied. But if we fail, the galaxy will tear itself apart. The choice is ours. The two looked at each other across the cultural divide. One was ancient, wise, and tired. The other was young, determined, and hopeful. Together they would try to build a bridge between their worlds. The battle was over, but the real work was just beginning. And somewhere in the darkness of space, 1,000 Terran warships stood guard, ready to defend their home against anyone who dared to threaten it again.